Hello, everybody. Uh, this is Azad Farsani, and today I have a guest in. Actually, this is, I think, my first uh, English show in my YouTube channel. I had some English show in previously, like in Armin Nawabi YouTube channel, Atheist Republic, but this is my first English-based show in my YouTube channel, and I have a special guest, Shahde Pastet. Welcome to my show, Shahde Pastet, or Shah Mortad in Persian. Why you call your name Shahde Pastet, Shah? Welcome.
Hello, welcome everyone, and greetings to whoever is listening. Shah the Apostate. In the Persian tradition, in the Persian culture, kingdom was an special um, thing all the time. We have had kings for more than 2,500 years, and if you be rebellious against culture, doesn't matter where you come from, it's kind of an apostasy. And a Muslim who leaves the religion, a Christian who leaves the religion, a person who doesn't want to abide to the old traditions that has been going on for years, you're kind of an apostate. If you're not apostate in your religion, you're apostate in your culture. If you do not want to follow your family rules that contradicts your morals or whatever you want to abide to, you're kind of an apostate. So a shah, that means king, the apostate, is someone who rebels against the old traditions. And I do not follow kingdom anymore. I do not support monarchy. And that's kind of an apostasy too. So yeah, that's why I mentioned my name as Shah Apostate. And I'm an apostate too. I've left Islam for so many years. And yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you. And I know most of my audience are in Persian language, but let's welcome to everybody on YouTube, on Clubhouse, on Instagram, and also on Facebook. Whoever watching or listening to this show live, or whoever watching or listening to this show later, welcome everybody. And let me say welcome in Persian too. درود و ادب دوستان، به نام خرد ناخدای بشر، خرد رهگشای تو در خیر و شر، خرد ناخداوند هر با خداست، خرد هم خداوند و هم ناخداست. درود بر شما خردمندان. شعری خواندم از شیدای همدانی عزیز، شاعر شریف ایران که در زندان است، زندان زاهدان. امروز برنامه داریم با موضوع اسلاموفوبیا اور اسلاموتروما. آیا اسلام هراسی است یا اسلام یک درد است، یک رنج است، یک تروماست؟ برای اینکه همین رو یه مقداری متوجه بشیم اجازه بدید من یه توییتی که مدتی پیش دیدم اون رو بخونم، به صورت پوستر در آوردم، حالا بعداً وارد موضوع برنامه میشیم. اول چرا این موضوع رو انتخاب کردیم؟ Islamotrauma. Let's correct the term. Islamophobia is misleading term about our situation in Islamic countries. It's Islamotrauma. It is not a phobia. It is a horrific nightmare things happen to us and experience because of Islam. تروما در زبان فارسی یعنی یا اصولا تروما یعنی ضربه، جراحت، شوک، آسیب و حادثه وارد شده بر بدن، جان و روان فرد و جامعه. و اگر این تروما توسط اسلام وارد شده باشد می شود اسلام و تروما. بنابراین این توییت میگه بیایید اصطلاح را اصلاح کنیم. اسلاموفوبیا یا اسلام هراسی اصطلاحی گمراه کننده درباره وضعیت ما در کشورهای اسلامی است. واژه درست اسلام و تروماست. این فوبیا نیست، کابوسی وحشتناک است که برای ما رخ داده و آن را به علت اسلام تجربه کرده ایم. خب من اگر نکته مقدماتی دارین شما، if you have any introduction please go ahead Shah, and then I have a video from Zainab al-Ghazwi, one of the columnists of Charlie Hebdo, that talking about Islamophobia. And then we go ahead and maybe at the end we can get some comment from Clubhouse or from YouTube also.
Yeah, nothing. It would be good to listen to Zainab's speech on TikTok, on TED Talk. So that would be great to start the discussion about Islamophobia right after that. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Let me first of all say who is Zainab al-Ghazwi. Zainab al-Ghazwi, as I said, is one of the columnists of Charlie Hebdo. And let me bring the Wikipedia about him and read it, and then we go ahead and listen to that video. Zainab Al-Ghazvi, and whoever is on Clubhouse, the link of the YouTube is pinned there, and you can come to YouTube and watch what we are talking about. Zainab Al-Ghazvi is a Moroccan-born French journalist. She was a columnist of Paris-based satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo from 2011 to 2017. She was in Morocco during the Charlie Hebdo massacre on January 7th, 2015. And this video has a Persian subtitle, so our Persian audience can watch it and understand what they're saying. Of course, I know a lot of Persian, they understand English very well. Okay, let's listen to a part of this TED Talk about Charlie Hebdo and Islamophobia. I just select a part of it that mainly talking about Islamophobia.
Some people from ISIS state, the fundamentalists, found that was a provocation. And you know, their friends were just killing my colleagues 1 week before. But they found this is a provocation. Okay? So we started receiving threats. We received a letter from ISIS state telling me, you escaped by miracle. Our glorious attack in Paris, where your brothers in atheism, the journalists of Charlie Hebdo, have been killed. But believe us, we will not close our eyes before we separate your head from your body. In the same moment, a video on YouTube was published by a group calling itself the Anonymous Islamic Youth, promising to me that I am condemned to death soon. They didn't say when, but it is soon. Okay? And a few weeks later, there were 2 hashtags on Twitter in Arabic. The first hashtag saying the duty to kill Zainab Al-Ghazwi to avenge the Prophet. And the second one saying locate Zainab Al-Ghazwi to kill her. So there were serious attempts to try to locate me in Paris. They also gave the whole religious justification why it became an obligation for every single Muslim to kill me. They gave the several methods how to execute me. So if you don't have a bullet or a bomb, just isolate me somewhere, break my head with big stones, cut my head or burn me, or at least burn my house. Okay?
So mainly, so far she was talking about the threat that she got about because she was a columnist, journalist in Charlie Hebdo, and ISIS and fundamentalist and Islamist was threatening him to death in different ways that she's talking about it. Do you have any comments so far, Shah? And if you have any comment, just let me know. I'll stop it and you can talk.
Well, not really. Let it finish and then I will say, I will add on what she's saying. Thank you.
Okay. And for Clubhouse Persian audience, تا حالا بیشتر درباره این صحبت کرد که موقعی که در واقع خب ایشون توی فرانسه نبود موقعی که حمله کردن به دفتر شارلی ابدو و وقتی برگشت خب ایشون زنده مونده بود و داعش و اسلامگراها خیلی ایشون رو تهدید کردن. خانم زینب الغزوی رو که تو زنده موندی ولی خلاصه تو را میکشیم، سرتو میبریم، سنگسارت میکنیم و تهدیدهایی که دریافت کرده بود رو خانم زینب الغزوی داره توضیح میده و بعد وارد بحث اسلاموفوبیا میشه. و بذارین همین الان بگم نکته اصلی که میگه اسلاموفوبیا در واقع یه ترمی بود، یه اصطلاحی بود که آخوندهای ایرانی ابداع کردند برای اینکه مانع نقد اسلام بشن. به هر حال این واژگان همیشه به نوعی وجود داشته، اما این واژگان این که بیاد در دامنه واژگان دیکشنری ها به طور خاص قرار بگیره و اون در قوانین وارد بشه برای اینکه مانع نقد اسلام بشه و مانع تمسخر اسلام بشه، این توسط آخوندهای اسلامی بود. حالا شاه گرامی هم ما قبل برنامه صحبت می‌کردیم به طور ویژه هم گفت مثلا یکی از اولین کسایی که دوباره توی دوران معاصر بیشتر این واژه رو به نوعی استفاده کرد خود خمینی بود. اما یه جمله‌ای هم از کریستوفر هیچنز بخونم که من همیشه میخونم: mockery of religion is one of the most essential things. One of the beginnings of the human emancipation is the ability to laugh at authority، که زیرنویس شده تمسخر دینی که از لازمترین کارهاست. آغاز رهایی انسان توانایی خندیدن به اتوریتی، به اون چیزی است که بهش میگن قدرت الهی. بشنویم ادامه ویدیو رو.
So I am wondering why am I threatened, and also why very often people who have contracts on their heads are usually very often issued from the Muslim culture. That was the case for Salman Rushdie. He was born in a Muslim family. Taslima Nasreen, Kamel Daoud, the Algerian writer, Nawal Saadawi, the Egyptian feminist and writer, Raif Badawi, who is still jailed now in Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Wald Mkhaitir, the Mauritanian blogger, who is condemned to death. All those people have a contract on their head or are condemned to death because they criticized religion. So I will tell you why my answer, I think why. Because I think people like us are the living contradiction to this smoke screen that the fundamentalists want to put in our heads. You know, if you have the same speech as I have about Islam, I grew up in this religion. I studied it 16 years in the Moroccan schools. I speak Arabic. I was teaching Arabic in Egypt. So I know what I criticize. But if you, as Greek people, if Westerners, European people say the same as me, they tell them, oh, you are an Islamophobe. It means you are a racist. So shut your mouth. But when people like us have this speech, they cannot say we are racist. Okay, they may say we are the home Arab or self-hating Arab. I don't know, but it's not very serious. Okay, so those people, the fundamentalists in the countries where Islam is the religion of state, where they have the power, in those countries, if you criticize their religion, they just put you in jail or kill you. But in Europe, they have no legal tool to shut your mouth. So they accuse you of being Islamophobe, then racist. So let's study this notion, this concept of Islamophobia. Why the hell, when a Christian criticizes his religion, we say he is an anti-clerical. We don't say he is a Christianophobe, okay? But when a Muslim criticizes his religion, he is an Islamophobe. This is a question. Second question, why are we supposed to consider Muslims as a race? And why do we consider that the Muslims are condemned to be ruled by their own tradition? Aren't they capable of sharing the same values, the same universal values as us? Why accusing those who criticize Islam of being racist? They are just people who say, okay, we are for equality between men and women, and we consider that the whole people, the whole human being should apply this equality. Why exclude the Muslims from this equality? Why exclude them from the universal values? Isn't that exactly racism? Isn't racism to say, we as Westerners want certain values for our society, but you know, those people, we will understand that they do it differently because, you know, we don't want to be racist. This is exactly racism for me. And, you know, this Islamophobia, actually, it is an intellectual imposture which was invented, which was created the first time by the Iranian mullahs.
And yeah, here is the point that I was talking about. It is say this term Islamophobia was created by Iranian mullahs.
To shut our mouths, but
to shut our mouth. که دهن ما رو ببندن.
Actually, it doesn't really work because, you know, this word entered this year the French dictionary Larousse.
میگه امسال این واژه به دیکشنری فرانسوی لاروس اضافه شد سال 2015 یا 2016.
It is described as Islamophobia means hostility towards Islam and the Muslims. So here there is a confusion between criticizing ideas and criticizing people. And these are two things that are very different. And the Council of Europe also adopted recently this definition of Islamophobia as expressing any hostile or negative ideas toward Islam or Muslims, and this is considered to be racist. So, if we consider that in countries like France, for instance, racism is not an opinion. Racism is forbidden by the law in France. So, if we consider that Islamophobia, which is the fact to criticize Islam, is racism, you are obliged by the law to have a positive opinion on Islam. Isn't that fascism? Okay.
Yes, Shah. I think another point that we need to emphasize on it is the difference between Islam and Muslim. That in Islamophobia term, it is not a distinct difference between Islam and Muslim. Islam is an idea, but Muslim is a person. That's why always I'm saying we are fighting with Islam, but Muslim people, they are our friend. We love Muslim people. They are human. So there is a big difference between beliefs, ideas, and human beings. So Shah, if you have any comments so far, please go ahead. And also, what do you think? What do you think about our main point? Islamophobia or Islamotrauma, or you think maybe something else? Go ahead.
Thank you. I think she made the point that I wanted to talk about, and I spoke about it before we go live. When she mentioned the Iranian mullahs, I had done my research already. So the Iranian mullah, the main one who actually used this word, is Khomeini, the founder of Islamic Republic. When he took power, when he took power in Iran, there was an incident that he said, I will just meet the people who wear hijab. I will just see the women who wear hijab. And then Iranians started rebelling, started coming to the streets and saying that no compulsory hijab. It's a personal choice, which it is. It's a personal choice. I don't care if a Muslim woman wants to wear the hijab or not. It's not my business. It's her personal choice. But Khomeini came to the media and said, these women are scared of Islam. In Persian, he said, "In zanan az Islam haras daran." These women are scared of Islam, being scared of Islam. This is the meaning of Islamophobia. And Islamophobia that's been translated and into the dictionary is a deceptive word. I'll tell you why. Islam is the ideology, and phobia is an irrational fear. It's kind of a sickness. Well, are we Islamophobes? It's not irrational, and we do not hate Muslims. Islam is the ideology, just like communism, just like capitalism, just like Christianity, Hinduism, or any other ideology that exists. You can be concerned about it. You can talk about it. It's my freedom of speech to talk about apples or the iPhone. I can talk about the Apple products. If I talk about how bad Apple products are, I'm not called an Appleophobe or iPhoneophobe. If I talk about how gambling is bad or how it can be bad, I'm not called a gambleophobe. But when I talk about Islam, the deception of Islam comes out. The deception that Allah talks about it. Allah says, I'm the most deceptive among deceptives, right? He says that I'm the best deceptive ever existing. So Muslims use this term. And I already spoke about phobia. It's an irrational kind of a fear. I'm just talking about Islamic verses, the Islamic tradition, Islamic ideology, how bad and destructive it is. And many Muslims can be the same. Muslims can follow the ideology and act like Muhammad, which is not a good behavior. It harms the society. It harms human being. It harms our well-being. But this word is being used and mistranslated and misused. And I'll tell you why Muslims are Islamophobes, not non-Muslims that talk about Islam. If you today tell a Muslim that, a Western Muslim that goes to club, has sex with her boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, he's gay or whatever he wants to be, and then you tell them, well, Islam is against that. Islam actually tells you to unalive people or harm people. Would you do that? And they will be like, no, Islam doesn't say that. Well, you are an Islamophobe. You are a Muslim and you are scared of the actual Islam for no reason. You're scared that Allah says, yes, in chapter 4, verse 35, do that to your wife. Like Allah promotes domestic violence. When you talk about that and Muslims are like, no, Allah doesn't say that. Excuse me, you are an Islamophobe, not me. You are scared of Islam. I'm just concerned about Islam. I'm Islamo concerned. I talk about it. I know how bad it can be. And the tweet that you showed, Islamotrauma, that can be true. Yeah. Who was the lady that went to Canadian University and she was cancelled? Forgot her name. Nadia Murad, the Yazidi girl who was cancelled in the Canadian University for the concerns of Islamophobia. That's exactly the fascism that she was talking about, Zainab al-Ghazwi. Cancelling people for a misleading term that's been used by the people who are irrationally scared of Islam. Muslims who are irrationally scared of what Islam is because they lack the ability of critical thinking. They cannot challenge themselves. They are scared of the actual Islam, and they do not take any criticism, neither about the way they live, nor about the way that Islam is being preached and Islam is being practiced all around the world. A Muslim that doesn't agree with Islamic laws is an Islamophobe. Many of Muslims are Islamophobe. 90% of Muslims are Islamophobes. And they have been used by the other 10% that are not Islamophobes and they are proud of the fundamental Islam, like people like Khamenei, people like Khomeini, people like Hui, people like Sistani, people like Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi, people like Abu Bakr, the guy that was in Nigeria, or Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, or Osama bin Laden, or Taliban leaders, or the terrorist groups in Africa like Somalia and Nigeria, Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram, Houthis, ISIS, Daesh. All these people are controlling Islamic world. Or in Egypt, the Islamic education that's been funding the world, that's been funding the Western universities, they are leading the Islamic community. They are leading the riots in France. So we are Islamo concerned. I'm an Islamo concerned. I'm not an Islamo. I'm not traumatized by Islam. Well, if everyone has been traumatized, but some people just treat that trauma, come out of the trauma and rebel against it, save others. This is what we're doing. This is exactly what my aim is, to save people. Not to save those who are about 50, 40, and they lack the ability of critical thinking. I care about the youth living in Islamic countries and youth that are being misled by the Islamic community and Islamic liars in non-Islamic countries. Why there are like more than 100 translations of Quran? Why? Because this book has been told the Muslims to deceive. And the deception has different ways, right? One Muslim agrees to mistranslate the word that Allah used in book to protect Islam and to lie to non-Muslims. The other translator says, no, well, I have a better word. Let me use that. Let me change the translation. We have seen like 100 translations for chapter 4, verse 34, or chapter 8, verse 12, that talks about things that harm human well-being. So these people are Islamophobes. Muslims are Islamophobes, not non-Muslims who are concerned about Islam. Muslims do not mean Islam. Muslims are people who practice the religion. I can be friends with Muslims, that I have Muslim friends. My best friend is a Muslim. I was living in a Sunni city in Iran, and he is still a Sunni, but he will not harm me. I mock the religion, I blaspheme, I talk about how I left Islam. He doesn't care. He doesn't really care. He just prays, that's it. Well, he's a fake Muslim, I know that, but like, I can be friends with such people. People that are cool to live with. And many of these people do not harm the society. I'm sure that he wouldn't care if someone is gay or a non-Muslim living with them. They will not damage the society going to non-Muslim churches or synagogues and harm those people. He will never do that. Well, he might do that, but there is a less chance. So we need to work on youth. We need to work on Generation Z, Generation X, and anyone below them, younger than them, to save them. The vibe that is happening in European countries, that they are now concerned about Islam and Muslims that are being immigrated, and they practice their religion in a way that harms the society, harms our well-being. That's rising. And you can't silence the thoughts. You cannot stop people's free speech. I can talk about whatever I am and whatever I want to be and whatever topic that I like, but and I also stand for hate speech, but not for threats and stuff like that. But you cannot silence. A non-Muslim who talks about Islam might hurt a believer emotionally, but a Muslim who is triggered or who is being hurt by a non-Muslim will hurt you physically, will take your life away, will damage your family, might burn your house, just like how Muhammad did in his battles and wars. So yeah, for now, I think the definition was, this is my definition, and I think this is closer to the actual word that Khomeini used, the person who first brought this term of Islamophobia in a broad platform, and then other reporters started translating what he said. He was the public figure, he was the religious leader, a political leader that had a big voice at that time. He was the center of media. The media was focused on him. So yeah, I think that's it for now, and I will continue later about why we should be concerned about Islam. And it's your right to be Islamophobic. You can be rationally or irrationally fearful of Islam. It's your choice, and it's your freedom.
Okay, thank you very much, Shah. And if you don't mind, as I said, I'm always saying ما اسلام ستیزیم، مسلمانان عزیزان ما هستند. ما اسلام ستیزیم، اعراب عزیزان ما هستند. ما نه نجات پرستیم و نه نجات ستیز. But I got your point. If you don't mind, would you please paraphrase a little bit a summary of what you said in Persian language for our Farsi audience too? And then we go forward to the next.
وقتی زینب القذوی در مورد این صحبت کرد که کلمه اسلاموفوبیا توسط مولای ایرانی استفاده شده، درست گفت، چون که اولین بار توسط خمینی استفاده شد. وقتی گفتش که من زنانی رو میبینم که فقط حجاب داشته باشن، یا حجاب، زنان با حجاب میتونن وارد مدرسه‌ای که بود میشدن، نمیدونم مدرسه بود یا حسینی ارشاد بود، حضور خاطر ندارم. زنان شروع کردن به اعتراض و بدتر هم بود که قانون حجاب اجباری شد. اومد گفتش که بله، این زنانی که تظاهر میکنن از اسلام هراس دارن، اسلاموفوبیا، از اسلام بیم داشتن، هراس داشتن. و این کلمه‌ای بود که وارد لغت‌های دیکشنری دیگه هم شد. دیکشنری فرانسوی شد، دیکشنری انگلیسی شد و به صورتی وارد این دیکشنری شد که دروغ ترجمه شده بود. به چه دلیل؟ به دلیلی که مسلمانان دروغ گفتن بله، اگه از اسلام به هراسی، یعنی که از مسلمان میهراسی، از مسلمان هم به هراسی، شما نجات پرست هستی، راسیست هستی شما. وقتی الله در کتابش میگه که بله، من دیسپتیو هستم، من کلک میزنم، من دغل بازم، منظورش همینه. و مسلمانان هستن که از اسلام هراس دارن. اگه مسلمانان فرار نمیکنن از کشورهای اسلامی، مگه مسلمانان نیستن که وقتی بهشون میگیم بله خدای شما گفته که در سوره مائده آیه 44 دست دزدا رو قطع کنید، مسلمان میگه نه این درست نیست، ترجمهش اشتباه، میگه دستشو از دزدی قطع کنید، نه اینکه دستشو قطع کنید. دغل‌بازی در میارن. این اسلاموفوبیا است. مسلمانی که اسلام هراس. من متوجه اسلام هستم، اسلام کانسرن هستم. من میدونم که اسلام چه ایدئولوژی خطرناکیه. به همین دلیل این پتکی که گرفتن دستشون مسلمانانو، کسایی که مسلمان نیستن و نمیدونن اسلام چیه یا میدونن اسلام چیه و دارن سوء استفاده میکنن ازش، این اینپوت رو باید بشکنیم. این زرهی که ما داریم در مقابل اینپوت آگاهیه. این آگاهی میشه زره ما، میشه سپر ما در مقابل اینپوت که از دروغ ساخته شده. آگاهی که ما میگیم در مورد اسلام و قوانین اسلامی و اینجور چیزها. سپاسگزارم آزاد جان.
بله خیلی سپاسگزارم و برای اینکه حالا یه مقداری فان هم داشته باشیم تا اینجا برای اینکه یه فان هم داشته باشیم تا اینجا یه ویدئوی کوتاهی من بذارم از لحظه‌ای که از آلت تناسلی.
ببخشید آزاد جان، آیه 38 مائده بود که من گفتم 44 برای و من لا یحکم بما انزل الله که بعدم اونو توضیح میدم. بفهمید.
Just to have fun, I'm going to show a video from a Persian Instagram page, I think atheist or something like that, that making a Charlie Hebdo cartoon of Muhammad from a penis. داره از یه آلت تناسلی مردانه کارتون شارلی ابدو رو آموزش میده که چجوری از آلت تناسلی مردانه کارتون شارلی ابدو از محمد رو بسازیم. این رو ببینید، خیلی کوتاهه. بله الان نشون میده چجوری آلت تناسلی مردانه یا همون سیر رو چجوری ازش کارتون محمد بسازیم، همون طرحی که شارلی ابدو ساخت و خب به خاطرش چندین انسان رو کشتن که خانم زینب القذبی اونجا داشت توضیح میداد از پیج اینستاگرامی ایران ایتیست اورگ، آتئیست ایرانی. خب شاه عزیز، if you have any other comment we can go ahead, or I have some tweet. I have a book of یاسمین محمد unveiled، کتاب بی‌حجاب یاسمین محمد که اون هم داره میگه که حواستون باشه، همون اسلامو کانسرنی که شما میگین به دولت‌های لیبرال غربی میگه حواستون به اسلام باشه. کتاب آنویل رو می‌نویسه که تروماهایی که خود یاسمین محمد داشت در مورد اسلام اونها رو داریم. یه ویدئوی شما برای من فرستادید از کودک سوری که در واقع اونجا به یه زنی که اونجا هست بی‌حجابه میگه من گردن تو رو میزنم اگه نمیدونم زن من بودی یا هر چیزی. اینها رو داریم و یه ویدیو من دارم از یه خانم سوری که میگه من با اسلام ستیز میکنم چون من میدونم اسلام چیه، من کانسرن دارم نسبت به اسلام، من متوجه هستم. اینها رو داریم. حالا نمیدونم به نسبت میتونیم وارد اینا بشیم، یه بخشی هم میتونیم در خدمت دوستان در کلاب هاوس هم باشیم که نکاتشون رو بشنویم. حالا چون من دوست دارم اون نکاتی که مد نظر شما هست پوشش داده بشه، نمیدونم به کدوم سمت بریم، اول از کتاب آنویل بریم یا بریم سراغ دوستان، یا نکته مد نظرتون هست اینجا. If you have any other comments.
Yeah, just a point. I think it's necessary to mention it. After the discovery of oil in Middle East, Islam got the unlimited source of income. That's why you didn't see Islamic countries or Islamic caliphs to export the terrorism into different countries. It was centralized. And after the unlimited discovery of oil in Saudi and the takeover of Iran by Khomeini and his occupation over the wealth of Iranians, you could see the funds going to the Islamic terrorist group into different countries. You saw the rise of ISIS, you saw the rise of Boko Haram, you saw the rise of Al-Qaeda, you saw the rise of Taliban, you saw the rise of X, Y, Z, and many other terroristic groups, Al-Shabaab, and stuff like that. Right now, these countries are funding the education system, the industries of Western countries. The universities in Canada, in Australia, in the United States is funded by these countries. Mosques are funded by these countries, especially Iran and Saudi Arabia. That's why I'm not deceived by the laws that Saudi king is doing. I know what he's doing. He's exporting his ideology to enslave people mentally and take over their decision making. So when these people are funded and these universities are funded, We reach a moment that I sent you in Daily Mail that the Canadian school cancels events with ISIS survivor Nadia Murad because her harrowing description of torture and the torture of rape would be offensive to Muslims and foster Islamophobia. This is fascism that Zainab Al-Ghazwi spoke about. You cancel people for what they say, for their personal experience. I will not cancel a Muslim. I will not even cancel Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. If I spoke to Muhammad today, I wouldn't cancel him. I would let him speak. If I talk to Khamenei and I cancel him, what's the difference between me and him? There's no difference. He cancels me, and if I cancel him, I'm doing what he's doing. I know how bad his ideology is, but he cancels me by sword, and I let him talk. So why would the Canadian University cancel Nadia Murad, the Yazidi slave of ISIS that has been survived for Islamophobia? Or Muslims will be hurt. Well, Nadia Murad was hurt physically. She was enslaved by ISIS. But you are canceling her because what she says is triggering the cute Muslims living in Canada. No, that's bad. We want the money of Muslims. Well, France took the money, right? The economy of France was growing. What happened to the society? What happened to the shops that Muslims were stealing in France when they were protesting? This is sad to see that Western countries that pretend to support freedom of speech, they cancel people like Nadia Murad. I would be cancelled if I spoke publicly. I would be cancelled. Nadia Murad is cancelled. When a person who goes to White House is cancelled, of course people like us will be cancelled. That's why how deceptive I call Islam. This ideology is such deceptive that it deceives people, and people will not realize that they have been deceived until they die. The kids that you will show, Azad, the kids that are still kids, like they are literally 8, 7, they threaten people because they have been raised in a colonized Islamic land, in a colonized Islamic household. The behavior that they do, the behavior that they expose is exactly what the immigrants do in other countries. They colonize each other, they live among each other, they share the same mentality, they're not exposed to the critics, they do not take the critics. It's like a Talibani soldier living in West, but they have all the rights. They got free education, they failed. They got the free healthcare, they failed. They got everything for free that they wouldn't get in Islamic countries. And Islamic countries like Saudi or Emirates do not consider them as a potential citizen. They can't get the citizenship. They can just go work in a minimum wage, and they're happy that they are working near the house of Allah. They get to see Allah's house every month or 2 months. That's why Islam is an enslaving ideology. It enslaves people, brainwashes people through generational traumas that they have had. And how do they use these slaves? Through your decision making. How do you enter toilet? How do you pray? When do you bend? When do you eat? When do you go outside your house? When do you have sex with your wife? How can you make love with your love? Who can you date? Who can you not date? This is how Islam enslaves Muslims. And we need to stand against it. Canceling people is not right, whoever they want to be, based on what they say. You can cancel people based on what they do, but not based on what they say. It's unfortunate. And we do not judge Islam by the actions of Muslims. We judge Islam by the actions of Muhammad. We judge Islam based on what's written in your books. We judge Islam based on what your imaginary God says. If your God says that if you do not rule by what Allah has sent, you'll be a disbeliever, and a Muslim who is a disbeliever is a non-Muslim. I sent you that hadith, and I will talk about it later, maybe after a few videos, why Muslims have Islamic Sharia police in some suburbs in London, in some suburbs in France, and why the Islamic society is such a judgmental society. Why people are judgmental in Middle East? You don't see someone judge what you're wearing in I don't know, in a European country, if they're Europeans, or in America or in New Zealand. You do not see them. The judgmental mentality of Middle East is absolutely related to Islam, and I will explain why. Thank you for now.
Okay, thank you. I think we are in a good point. You were talking about Islam is what Muhammad said and did. And it's, remember, to me, it was a Syrian woman that was saying exactly the same thing, that Islam is not what I'm thinking, is not what you're thinking. Islam is exactly what Muhammad did and said, and exactly is what the Quran is saying. So if you agree, we can listen to that Syrian woman that talking about Islam, and he said, I'm fighting with Islam. Let's listen to that video. It has a Persian subtitle too.
I have decided to fight Islam. Please pay attention to my statement. To fight Islam, not the political Islam, not the militant Islam, not the radical Islam, not the Wahhabi Islam, but Islam itself. I truly believe that the West has invented these terms for the sake of being politically correct. Growing up in Syria, I have never heard but Islam. Islam has never been misunderstood. Islam is the problem, but no one is stating the truth. No one is taking a hard look at the root of the terrorism, which is the brainwashing machine called Islam. Islam is not up to me, is not up to any Muslim man or woman. Islam is exactly what the Prophet Muhammad did and said. In order to understand Islam, you have to read the biography of Muhammad. It is very traumatizing. It is very shocking. He married his second wife when she was 6 years old. He was over 50. I just came back from France. I debated with a Muslim Pakistani woman. She was the Minister of Women in Pakistan. When I told this fact to my audience, she turned to me and she said, it is a big lie. She was 9, not 6. It sounds like when a policeman stops you because you're driving over 100 miles per hour and you turn to him and say, it is a big lie. I was driving 90 miles per hour, not 100 miles. She was 9, not 6. He married his second wife. She was his daughter-in-law. His son was adopted, and at that time it wasn't accepted by the pre-Islamic Arabic culture. So he turned to his followers and he said, I was told by God that adoption is forbidden. And adoption, believe it or not, has been forbidden in the Islamic culture, just to justify his marriage of his daughter-in-law. His third wife was Sophia. She was a Jewish woman. It was well documented, well written in our school book that he attacked her tribe. He killed her father, her brother, and her husband at the same day he slept with her. That's what I call Islam. You need to know, you need to understand that Islam is the problem. I am sick and tired of people here in the West asking me to soften my message. I am sick and tired of people asking me, are you trying to change 1.3 billion people? Yes, I am trying. Yes, I am. It is not a matter of I am trying. I will change him. I want you to know that the very first value I learned when I came to this great country, that you can do the impossible if you truly believe in yourself. I not only believe in myself, I believe in many million Muslim women like Nooni Darwish and Ayaan Ali. And we are working hand in hand to change 1.3 billion Muslims. They have to realize that they have only two choices, to change or to be crushed.
You know, Shah, it is really awesome. You know, she's saying, they are asking me, از من میپرسن که تو آیا میخوای 1.3 میلیارد مسلمان رو تغییر بدی؟ میگه من تو فرانسه که اومدم به من یاد دادن که ما میتونیم هر کاری رو انجام بدیم اگر به خودمون باور داشته باشیم. آره، من و زنان دیگر 1.3 میلیارد مسلمان رو تغییر خواهیم داد. حالا مسلمانان دیگه اخیراً هم میگن ما 2 میلیارد مسلمانیم، یه دفعه هم زیاد شدن مسلمانایی که حالا دیگه میدونیم اگر وقتی به دنیا میان سر حالتشون رو میبرن، اگرم بخوان از اسلام خارج بشن سر خودشون رو میبرن. حالا گفت از it is a very traumatic experience، از اسلاموتروما گفت. من یه نگاهی هم بندازم به کتاب Unveiled، کتاب بی‌حجاب خانم یاسمین محمد که به فارسی هم ترجمه شده با همین عنوان بی‌حجاب، در وبسایت ریچارد داوکینز ترجمه شده به فارسی. یه بخشی از اون رو هم بخونم از کتاب Unveiled که اونم از تجربه تروماتیک خودش میگه. Unveiled How Western Liberals Empower Radical Islam، یاسمین محمد. و I'm going to read one paragraph of the introduction. The fact that I grew up Muslim should be nothing more than a distant memory. I broke away from that world in 2004, but the traumatic world I was born into has defined me. It's in my bones. It runs in my blood. I can't escape it. I had thought I could escape it. I would start over, redefine myself, live my life on my own terms. But I realized that I can't escape my own self. The very connection in my mind, the visceral reactions of my body, I have no control over any of that, and I can't reconstruct myself. At times I think that I might have overcome it all, that I might be able to live a normal life, but as soon as my guard is down, a dormant memory rears its ugly head. If you have any comment about this video or about what I read of Yasmina Muhammad, we'll go ahead, Shah, please, and then we can go forward.
Perfect. I was inspired. Such an amazing lady speaking. I truly believe in her. If a society, she named Ayaan Hirsi. She is such an inspirational. She's such an inspiration. If a society like Somalia, that is one of the most miserable locations on earth, if such place and such society that is suffering for so many years, they have lost their identity, they were about to lose their language, they have lost their traditions, nothing Somali in Somalia today. You cannot find Somali, anything Somali or related to Somalia or the culture today in Somalia if you walk there, except the people who look Somali. If such location, if such society can give birth or can have Ayaan Hirsi Ali, that is an intelligent, outspoken fighter that talks against Islam, and she is pretty much secular and liberal, can have thousands of Ayaan Hirsi Ali. The same society gives birth to Al-Shabaab's leader, Ahmed Omar Abu Obaida. The same society gives birth to Ayaan Hirsi. If our society has people like Khamenei, has people like Azad as well, has people like me, has people like many other ex-Muslims that openly speak, has people like Mahsa, has people like Nika that fought Islam when they're not even 20, when they are not even 18, till today. So I know that this society will be free, just like how Christopher Hitchens says. He said it back in 2009, and I will share the video with you, and you can play it. It's such an amazing video. He said Iranian society will rebel. The youth of Iran do not follow the traditions, forced traditions of old and older, and we will reach a day that the same youth will not agree with Walayat Faqih, will not agree with the religious leaders, will not agree with the religion. And that's such an amazing speech. I will try to share it with you, and then you can play other videos about Syrian kids and other contents that you have for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And let's share this picture first. One of the comments was talking about the Sweden, and it's the immigration issue that we have in Europe. It's a cartoon from Korea, if I'm not wrong. Is when the Muslim immigrate to Western countries, they say humanity first, and they welcome them. They give them their house, their freedom, their everything. But when they settle down in their countries, in their house, in the Western countries, in United States, then they said no, Islam first, and then they burn the house, like what happened in Sweden, what happened in Europe, in France. They killed people, they behead people, and then you see exactly what is you can see in this picture, and I translated in Persian too, same cartoon. And yep, do you want me to play that video about the Syrian?
Yeah, before that, Sweden is. I'm sure many people know what's happened in Sweden. A Syrian person burned Quran over there, and people in Islamic countries that would sacrifice their children, would sacrifice their nationality, would sacrifice whatever they have gained, would literally do anything they can to get into Sweden. They are calling Sweden a racist, a fascist. They are burning Swedish flag. Same people, same hypocrites, that they do not carry their passport in the luggage. They burn their passport when they get into Sweden. Same people call Sweden fascist because they're hypocrites. And how do they gain this hypocrisy? Through Islam. Because Islam is deceptive. They have identity crisis. They don't know what they are. They think Islam is their identity. No ideology is my identity. I'm a good human, and humanity is my identity. That's why these countries that they truly believe in humanity. I know that, like countries like Sweden, they care about humanity. They protect it. That's why they let refugees live in their countries. Refugees that have nothing but trauma from Islam, and they worship this trauma like we see. They literally worship the trauma that they have had. Sweden and other countries let these people come to their countries, give them shelter, give them job, help them with education, help them with healthcare. And they burn the Swedish flag. I truly believe such people deserve Islamic Republic. Such people deserve Saudi Kingdom. Such people deserve Taliban. Such people deserve Al-Shabaab. Not those kids that are brainwashed by them. Yeah.
Exactly. And if you want to share another video, just send it to me. But I'm going to play the kids from Syrian that can you explain it a little bit in Persian? Then I can play it in English.
Yeah, I believe these kids that you're gonna show are the kids of the slave girls and the wives of ISIS soldiers or the Islamic terrorist groups that have been living in camp. Many of them are born in the camp, and they have raised in an absolute Islamic community, like nothing else except Islam is being fed to them. You can see when the Western reporter tries to interview these children, how they react. They react the way that Muhammad's kid would react. They react the way that Muhammad would have reacted. They act the way that the kid called Ali bin Abi Talib that grew up by Muhammad in Muhammad's house would react. They react like a fundamental Muslim. And these people have not raised with their father, they have raised with the kind mother that they have. The toxicity in Islamic society is shown in this video, in such an important video, but have not been watched as many as a preacher's speech in LA would get views. Or people who pray in public, if you record them and put them in on media and say, wow, look at the power of Allah, all the slaves will go and watch it. But such important videos that make you think for hours that what's happened to them, what's the trauma behind them, what's the health issue that they are suffering from, the public health that concerns about such things is not been discussed. I think let's watch the video.
And would you just explain a little bit in Persian about that video too? Then I play it.
حتما. ویدیویی که آزاد جان پخش میکنه مربوط به کودک‌های سوری هستش که در کمپ به دنیا آمدن، کمپایی که دست داعش بوده، یعنی کمپایی که از برده‌های جنسی و زنان سربازان داعشی بوده. اون کمپ‌ها رو درست کردن و می‌بینید که این بچه‌هایی که در اون کمپ جامعه اسلامی بزرگ شدن، یعنی هیچ چیزی به غیر از اسلام در اون جامعه رشد نکرده، چجور رفتار میکنن به زنی که میخواد باهاشون مصاحبه کنه.
Okay, I'm playing now. Oh, I think when you send it to me, I download it, but it looks that it didn't download completely for some reason. Maybe it's not allowed us to download it. Let me play it from the same link that you sent it to me from YouTube. I think that should be better. Sorry about that. I just got it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Get ready.
On the horizon in this northeastern corner of Syria, the Islamic State lives on. This is a place that should trouble governments around the world. Behind a single fence in Al-Hol camp are people who will rebuild their cult if they can. It was supposed to be temporary, a holding center for the women and the children of ISIS. And yet it endures, squalid and insecure, and no one knows what to do with them. To go in, we're told to take all precautions. We will not be welcome. The armed guards, who don't want to be identified, tell us about the stabbings and several murders. We're on our way to the camp annex where the foreigners are held, 10,000 of them.
Throwing stones already.
The makeshift market area is the only place the staff are comfortable taking us in this part of the camp.
Where are you from?
It is a chance for a few snatched conversations.
Can we talk to you?
No.
You're from Australia.
I really don't want to talk to you, sorry.
أنا روسي.
Where?
روسي.
From Russia. So what's your name?
يوسف.
And where are you from?
فنلندي.
Finland.
So much in this place is deeply unsettling. Waves are met with nothing. Those natural instincts of a child, they're not here. Instead, this.
الله عز وجل قال لكم توبوا.
A young boy asks us to repent our sins, and then and how do you heal a mind like that? The point is, here, no one is even trying. In Al-Hol, radicalized mothers are with children who've seen no other life.
Where are you from?
I'm من دولة الإسلام.
Huh?
I'm from the Islamic State.
Yeah, but where were you from before?
I'm from the Islamic State.
Have you heard about al-Baghdadi?
Huh?
Al-Baghdadi.
دولة الباقية دولة الإسلام باقية. الله أكبر.
They are angry and yet emboldened by the news of the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi last month.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi has been killed. Another one come. And if this one is killing, another one will come. And another one, another one, another one. It's like this.
You still believe in the ideology of Daesh?
Yes, of course. Of course. Why it would change? Look how they treat us here. Just like animals, just like dogs.
You treated others like animals.
Yeah.
Daesh cut people's heads off. They burnt people alive. No, is this not true?
This is in the Quran.
Sorry?
Okay, this is in the Quran.
There are 70,000 people here now. It is a town, not a camp. There is no school. Aid agencies struggle to operate because of the security. Healthcare is at its most basic.
The camp authorities say that further radicalization is taking place in the camp all the time. This is the market area. At one stage, years ago, it was an existing refugee camp. Now those refugees who are here, who fled ISIS, are mixing with the ISIS women. Essentially, a new mini caliphate is being created. Is your baby?
I have 2 children.
You have 2 children.
Yes.
Sonia Kadiri from Italy was one we found who did appear repentant.
Do you understand why the Italian government would think you are a danger?
Yeah, I know. Because I come in Daesh, I stay in Daesh 3 years, but I go out Daesh from 3 years. I'm 3 years in the camp.
So you don't believe the ideology of Daesh anymore?
No. I don't know.
But is this genuine, or would she be a threat back home? Again, no one is making the judgment. The gesture is genuinely Islamic, the oneness of God. But here in Al Hol, it's been warped and twisted. ISIS is rising again. Mark Stone, Sky News in Syria.
I need to talk about it. The kid that was being interviewed literally told to the interviewer that I will slaughter you, and that's not the healthy kid would say. That's not something that the healthy kid would say. That's absolutely dangerous for the society. Many of them are trying to get back. Many of them got back and got only 3 years of jail, and that's not healthy. That's not good, unfortunately. Did you see when the reporter asked her, do you believe in the Daesh ideology? And she laughed and said no. That's obvious what she truly believes in. And the hypocrites, they treated Yazidi women like something that's not humane, but they're angry why they're living in a camp. The hypocrisy of Muslims is unlimited. The hypocrisy of Muslims is unlimited. There is no limit for the deception of Islam. There is no limit for the hypocrisy of Muslims. There is no limit for the danger of Islam to our society. There is no limit for the brainwashing level that these kids are suffering. That society is suffering. The society that was shown in the video is suffering from multiple conditions, from multiple health issues, mental health issues, physical health issues, many other social factors. And that's not the society that I desire, or free people desire for human beings. It's important to stand against such ideology. That's why we stand against it. If there was no problem in Islam, there wouldn't be any Islamic terror groups around the world. There wouldn't be a kid suffering in an Islamic country. There wouldn't be a person suffering during the time of Muhammad. When Islam says that I have total answer for financial issues, for the health issues, for the scientific issues that are there, I have total solution for how you should run a country. That is totalitarianism. That's dictatorship. That's fascism. That's why an Islamic state is a mafia state. An Islamic ideology is a totalitarian ideology. A true Muslim is a totalitarian. Like Khamenei, like Muhammad, like Khomeini, like bin Salman, like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, like many other Muslims living in America, or like many of them living in Europe. It's dangerous. And the Islamic mindset, the Muslims need to be treated from the infection called Islam. Yes, Azad. I cannot
Oh,
hear
sorry.
you.
Sorry, my my mic was muted. Yeah, it was really terrible. Thank you. You send me another video. Do you want me to play it now? That you talked about it
Sure,
before.
please. It's a very important video, and the prophecy that if such prophecy was done by Muhammad, Muslims would carry it everywhere. The banners of this prophecy would be shown everywhere. This is an absolute true prophecy that was made by Christopher Hitchens, an intelligent person who maybe was an Islamophobic, who knows, who maybe was concerned about Islam. But he talks very well on Iranian society. I want audience to hear that.
Yeah. And as someone said, wrong place, wrong time. I don't know, is wrong place, wrong time, or sometimes we human beings are wrong people. It's not the place and time issue, it's our issue.
Probably more than 50% of the Iranian population is under 25. And it's rather outgrowing the tutelage of parenthood. And so the mullahs have, by accident, by unintended consequence, brought about a generation that doesn't like them, in particular among the females. So that the moment is coming, I think it may already in fact have come, when the Velayat Faqih will no longer work. But in the meantime, the appearance of an open society, but where all is allowed, but all is guided, and all is finally decided by a guardian council, has reached the point that Lenin used to describe as a revolutionary situation, viz. A situation where the old order cannot continue in the old way, is unable to do so, and where those whom it rules do not wish, have no further desire to be ruled in the old way. So, the crisis of totalitarianism with which I began is now where I'll stop. The stupider the regime, the more intelligent the people get and the more humorous. We're going to live to see great things in Iran. They've raised a generation of people who've completely seen through religion. They've got no more use for these verminous mullahs at all.
Yeah, this is what I would say an absolute prophecy. This is what the videos was shown on the speech. I think what Christopher Hitchens said here about the society that we live in is true. And this is about 10 years ago. This isn't like a year ago that Christopher Hitchens is talking about. He probably made the speech more than 10 years ago. And it's completely true what he says. It's pretty rational too to think that way, that Islam is a totalitarian ideology. And if free speech and free thoughts are promoted in a society, Islam will never grow. Why did you think the kids that was shown in the Syrian camp were such disasters, were so violent? No other ideology, no other speech was allowed to rise. Did you see the mother that was hiding that was covering the eyes of the kid not to see the reporter? Seeing non-believers is sometimes banned in Islamic countries. You cannot see a non-believer walking. And they were judging people. Did you see that? The kid was judging the reporter. Probably he was 6 or 7. He was telling the reporter that I will punish you. I will slaughter you. This is because in Bukhari, in the book of Shahadat, the witnesses, Umar ibn Khattab says, it's 2641 in Kitab al-Bukhari. He says sometimes people were judged by the divine inspiration when Muhammad lived, when Quran wasn't completed. He means now we judge you by the deeds that you practice publicly. Umar ibn Khattab said, now after Muhammad has died, we will judge you publicly. by the deeds that you do publicly. So if a Muslim woman doesn't wear hijab in public, she can be judged. That's why Islamic societies and Middle Eastern societies are such judgmental societies. They will judge you for what you drink, for what you wear, for what you eat, for who you date, for how you look, for what you say, and many other things. If Omar said it, and you think that if a Muslim thinks that they know Islam better than Omar ibn Khattab, if he existed, I don't really believe that such people existed. And I believe that these are myth, Muhammad and whole story of his companions. That's my personal belief, by the way. But if Omar could do this, of course, a person who wants to follow Omar or follow Muhammad would do it too. That's why you see in London, in suburbs of London, there are Sharia states, Sharia police during Ramadan. They walk in the streets. If see someone eating, they will ask him, "Where's your hijab? What you eating? Why are you eating? How dare you eating?" That's why London, France are in such disasters now. They're suffering, and I hope they find a solution for their countries. I think the values and the benefits that human beings will gain from a society like French society or Swedish society before Islamization would be more than the Islamized society of France and Sweden.
Yeah, thank you. If you don't mind, would you please just summarize a little bit what you said about the Sahih al-Bukhari hadith and about the video, just a summary of it for our Persian audience. Then we can cover, you send me another link about list of killing in the name of Islam, and I have a couple tweet. We then can cover those, and after that we can maybe go to Clubhouse or on YouTube. If someone has a question or comment, then we can wrap up with those.
Perfect. حتما. اگه میبینیم که جامعه اسلامی جامعه قضاوتگری هستش، جاجمنتاله، همدیگه رو قضاوت میکنن در خاورمیانه که چی میپوشین، چی نمیپوشین، چی میگید، چی نمیگید، به این دلیل هستش که عمر بن خطاب گفتش که بله، زمانی که محمد هنوز قرآن کامل نشده بود ما جاج میکردیم مردم رو در جامعه، ما قضاوتشون میکردیم و حکم رو اجرا میکردیم. الان هم که محمد نیست، الان هم که قرآن کامل شده، هنوز هم این کارو میکنیم، اما اهمیت نمیدیم داخلشون چیه، بر اساس ظاهرشون قضاوتشون میکنیم، چی میپوشن، چی نمیپوشن، چی میخورن، چی نمیخورن، هر کاری که در جامعه انجام میدن عیان هستش، ما قضاوتش میکنیم، خوب باشه قضاوتش میکنیم، بدم باشه قضاوتش میکنیم. این هستش که جامعه‌های اسلامی مخصوصا در خاورمیانه جاجمنتالن. همین مسلمانان که مهاجر هستن هم همین شکلن، جاج میکنن، قضاوت میکنن دیگران رو، که مثل سم میمونه. در همچین جامعه زندگی کردن باعث بیماری میشه، باعث بیماری روانی میشه.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, you send me a link about a list of Islam terror. Let's go over with that also. And then I have a couple tweets that I can read about Islamophobia or Islamotrauma. And then we can go to Clubhouse comments. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to bring them up. Okay, Shah, this is the link that you sent it to me. List of killing in the name of Islam. فهرستی از قتل هایی که به نام اسلام صورت گرفته در 30 روز گذشته. وبسایتی است با عنوان thereligionofpeace.com. حالا من بذارین لینکش رو توی کلاب هاوس هم بذارم، دوستانی که میخوان برن ببینن. اگر if you have any comment please go ahead and then I'm going to read the comments tweet after that.
Yeah, sure. This website gives you an updated list of terroristic attacks in the world, but it takes like 48 hours to update. So if you see a list, it's for 2 days ago at least. So from 10th of this month, that's 10th of July, there have been numbers of attacks. I can't even count them. Kenya, in the city of Kiwanja. 3 people died, 8 people injured on 10th of July. And Al-Shabaab claims 3 souls, like Al-Shabaab has done this attack. In our country, Iran, in the city of Khoi, 1 person killed. How a 15-year-old is killed by her parents via strangling. This is not the society that you would love to live in. Pakistan, Philippines, Afghanistan, Somalia, Niger, Yemen. You can see the lists. In Iran, Zahedan, 2 people killed. At least 2 others are killed when suicide bombers storm a police station. مثل اینکه در زاهدان یک حمله تروریستی انجام گرفته بوده. So yeah, this is what we are dealing with. Israel, in the city of Kedomim, 1 person died. An Israeli is murdered by a Hamas gunman. Again, Israel, Tel Aviv, 1 person killed, 7 injured. A terrorist runs down pedestrians, then get out to stop them, killing an unborn child. Killing an unborn child. It's sad to even read it. Islamic ideology is such a terroristic ideology, and this is dangerous. This is absolutely dangerous. If Muslims claim that this is not Islamic, well, you have a good job to do now. You can go and talk to your Muslim friends in Middle East. You can tell them to behave well, not to someone who's concerned about Islam. So don't be an Islamophobe. Do not be scared of Islam. Accept what Islam is. Accept how bad this ideology is. And stand against it. If you want to be like them, if you want to be like your prophet, just be like him. But the human rights supported laws that will stand against you. This isn't the joke about human race. This is nothing that we could just ignore. If an unborn child can be killed by a Muslim that follows the ideology of Islam, I believe not just Islam is dangerous, but fundamental Muslims are also dangerous for our society. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So let's me just read a couple of tweets, and then we're going to our friends if you don't have any final comments. Oh, crazy. Okay, I'm going to Twitter. I'm reading a couple of tweets about Islamophobia or Islamotrauma. First tweet from Pari Par, the Einzingfi. Fuck Islam and every representation of it. There is no such thing as Islamophobia. The right term is Islamotrauma. This religion comes from a mind of psychopathic man who resented women, Muhammad. If he wakes up from the grave, he wouldn't believe that you idiots are still worshiping him. اگر محمد از گور برمیخواست باور نمیکرد که هنوز شما این مرد سایکوپت رو میپرستید. توییت بعدی رو میخونم. Sorry for the delay because I need to go one by one. The next tweet is from Yasmin Muhammad that we read the introduction of her book. Yasmin Muhammad saying the United Nations designated Islamophobia Day, but the world still refuses to recognize those of us who suffer from Islamotrauma. سازمان ملل روزی را به عنوان روز اسلاموفوبیا مشخص کرده، اما جهان هنوز ابا دارد، همچنان خودداری می کند از اینکه ماها رو بشناسه، ماها رو به رسمیت بشناسه، افرادی که از اسلاموتروما رنج میبریم. Those who denounce Islam lose their family, their friends, their community and are even hunted down and killed. اون کسانی که به هر حال میبینی توییت رو denounce Islam lose their family اعلام کردن که اسلام باعث شده خانوادهشون از دست بدن، دوستانشون از دست بدن، جامعهشون از دست بدن و حتی کشته بشن. How can you help؟ این هم حالا اون چجوری میتونید کمک کنیم به این افراد و free hearts free mind. توییت بعدی رو میخونم. خب بذارید من اینا رو ببندم که تکراری نیارم. فکر کنم توییت دیگری است از یاسمین محمد. We took your word hijab day and made it no hijab day. چون یه روزی رو هم به عنوان روز جهانی حجاب مشخص کردن. گفته که Dear Islamists, we took your word hijab day and made it no hijab day. We took your Islamophobia day and made it Islamotrauma day. We will always be here to oppose your propaganda. We will always loudly expose your lies. The 3 days to kill us have expired. Sincerely, ex-Muslims. توییت بعدی رو میخونم. از شادی با کارتونی که این برنامه پخش کردیم. Their struggle with Islamophobia versus our struggle with Islamotrauma. چالش مسلمانان با اسلام هراسی در مقابل چالش ما با اسلاموتروما. اونها ما یه کارتون میکشیم، یه نقاشی میکشیم، بهشون بر میخوره، میان سر ما رو میبرن، به قلب ما تیر و خنجر و شمشیر میکشند. اما میبینید این چالش ما با چالش اونها با اسلاموفوبیا در مقابل چالش ما با اسلاموتروما. چالش ما با خون و خشونت و شمشیر، اما چالش اونها با یک کارتون و نقاشی است که به خاطر یک کارتون و نقاشی انسان میکشند. توییت بعدی رو میبینیم که فکر میکنم آخرین توییت هست. بله. As Prim V, the Prim V, as an ex-Muslim whose life has been ravaged by Islamic rules enforced by an Islamic theocracy, I say loud and clear, my feelings towards Islam are not Islamophobia, but perfectly justified trauma. I have Islamotrauma. Hands off my freedom of thought and speech. میگه احساسات my thoughts towards Islam، احساسات من در مقابل اسلام هراسی نیست، بلکه کاملا به عنوان یک تروما شناخته می شود. من ترومای اسلام رو دارم. Hands off my freedom of thought and speech. دستانم رو بالا می برم به خاطر آزادی بیان و آزادی اندیشه. It is not Islamophobia but Islamotrauma. شاه گرامی اگر جنبندی داریم بفرمایید که بریم کلاب هاوس نظر دوستان رو بشنویم.
Not really. I appreciate everyone listening. If anyone has a point to say, would be happy to listen to them.
Thank you very much. And if you like to maybe invite anybody to talk, or anybody want to talk, please raise hand and we can.
Everyone is welcome. Whoever wants to say something, please join. Otherwise, I think that's it for today's discussion. But if anyone likes to join, just feel free to join.
And نیازی هم نیست حتما به زبان انگلیسی صحبت کنید دوستان. هر کدوم از دوستان چه به زبان فارسی هم میخوان مشارکتی داشته باشن در خدمتشون هستیم. از پخش زندم سپاسگزارم آیدین توکل و دوستانشون که به روش خودشون برنامه ما رو لایو کردن در یوتیوب. حالا من دوستانی که میبینم دعوت میکنم هر کدوم تشریف بیارن. سوان گرامی از دوستان، ایشون هم از دوستان نسل آزاد اندیشان هستند، مثل خود شاه گرامی، پرنس آف پرشیا، بابک خرمدین، امام زمان، بهمن از دوستان کنگره ملی ایرانیان، رضا لطفی یا هر کدوم دیگر از دوستان که تمایل دارن صحبت کنن میتونن ریز هند کنن و تشریف بیارن. حالا تو این فاصله من میتونم یه کامنت های دوستان رو در کلاب هاوس هم یه نگاهی بندازم. نابود با جمهوری اسلامی تروریستی. هر چیزی که در بقچه پیچیده و پنهان شود موجب کنجکاوی آدما می شود و هر چیزی بیش از حد به آن پرداخته شود آدما ذاتاً مخالفند و با آن ستیز می کنند. الانسان حریص علی ما منع. بله، درود به همه شب زنده‌داران عزیز. چون our show is on started at 4:30 am in Iran. ساعت 4:30 صبح در ایران شروع کردیم. مشکل افراد باعث انحطاط می شود و افراد در فرهنگ جوامع رشد داده می شود. و سامان امزی گفته که جناب آزاد در اصل کلمه اسلاموفوبیا واژه اشتباهیه. شما به کسی که با احتیاط زیاد رانندگی میکنه اوتوفوبیا یا رودوفوبیا نمیگویید. اون شخص احتمالاً خاطره بدی از تصادف ماشین داره و بنابراین بیشتر از بقیه احتیاط میکند. ما هم آسیبی که اسلام به ما زده رو دیدیم، بنابراین باید احتیاط کنیم. و فوبیا یک ترس غیر منطقی، اما متاسفانه جنایت هایی که اسلام کرده منطقی هست که ازش ترس نداشته باشیم، اما این ترومایی که به ما زده منطقیه که آدم باید نسبت بهش احتیاط داشته باشه. کاملا درست گفتن سامان گرامی. خب من شاه گرامی نمیبینم کسی روی استیج باشه. من دوست داشتم حالا اگر کسی هم توی بک چنل برای من پیامی گذاشته، من چون نمیتونم همزمان چک کنم پوزش میخوام بعد برنامه باید ببینم، اما بنابراین اگر نکته‌ای هم هست برای شاه گرامی بفرستین. در خدمت دوستان هستیم. حالا من چند دقیقه صبر میکنم تا باز هم اگر کسی در کلاب هاوس نکته‌ای داره بگه. حالا من یه نگاهی به کامنت های یوتیوب هم میندازم ببینم پرسشی اگر هست اونجا هم پرسش ها رو داشته باشیم. اگر دوستان در کلاب هاوس هم در یوتیوب هم پرسشی دارن میتونن با پرسش نکتهشون رو مطرح کنن. حالا یا به فارسی یا به انگلیسی حتما توضیح خواهیم داد. به هر حال ما خیلی حرفه‌ای نیستیم به زبان انگلیسی و رسانه ما هم رسانه انگلیسی نیست. سعی کردیم هر دو تا مخاطب فارسی زبان و انگلیسی زبان رو داشته باشیم. حالا اولین تجربه هم بود به نوعی در کانال خود من، تجربه زبان انگلیسی که حالا امیدوارم بعداً از جمله در خدمت خود شاه گرامی هم باشیم. ما دوست داشتیم در خدمت آرمین نوابی هم باشیم از دوستان با بنیانگذار ایتھیست ریپابلیک. این ساعت کار داشتن، حتی من قبلا بهشون گفتم نمیتونم بیان. امروز هم دوباره چند ساعت قبل بهشون گفتم اگر میتونن تشریف بیارن، گفتن که متاسفانه همین ساعت کاری دارن. آرمین نوابی دوست عزیز ما در جمهوری بیخدایان. خب کسی رو نمیبینم. شاه عزیز شما اگر جنبندی داریم بفرمایید که برنامه رو پایان بدهیم. در اختیار خودتونه، یعنی هر نکته‌ای هست بفرمایید. من میتونم یه بار دیگه همینجوری که شما صحبت میکنید این کارتونای شارلی ابدو و چند تا تصویری که پخش کردن رو یک بار دیگه پخش کنم که دوستان ببینن. در خدمتتونم شاه عزیز.
من تشکر میکنم از همه دوستان که وقت گذاشتن شنونده بودن. امیدوارم که این کلمه که به نادرست استفاده میشه، اسلاموفوبیا، توسط کسانی که با اسلام مقابله میکنن استفاده نشه. یعنی اگر کسی که با اسلام مقابله میکنه، با ایدئولوژی اسلامی مخالفه، بیاد اسلاموتروما رو یا اسلاموفوبیا رو پتکی کنه بر سر کسانی که از اسلام با اسلام مبارزه میکنن، این دیگه میشه خرابکاری، این میشه سابوتاژ. این کار نباید انجام بگیره که من هم دیدم کسانی که اسلاموفوبیا رو اشتباه ترجمه میکنن با اینکه درس هم خوندن، دانشگاه رفتن. متاسفانه اگه همچین افرادی این کارو کنن، بعیدم نیست که همین افراد که به قدرت میرسن، سیاستمدار میشن، در جامعه صدایی دارن، باعث این بشه که افرادی که دنبال میکنن، اعتماد دارن، خودشون ریسرچ نمیکنن هم گمراه بشن. کار درستی نیست. اگر مخالف هستید ثابت کنید که آیا حرف شما درسته یا اینکه چرا حرفی که مثلا شاه میزنه غلطه. سپاسگزارم از همه دوستان، باز هم از شما آزاد عزیز که وقت گذاشتین و این صحبت رو با هم دیگه داشتیم.
من از شما خیلی سپاسگزارم. امیدوارم که بعداً هم در حد امکان و فرصتی که شما دارید و بتونیم این هماهنگی رو داشته باشیم که برنامه‌ها رو به این صورت باز هم ادامه بدیم. حالا تا پایان این عکس‌ها من یه تیکه کوتاه دیگه آهنگ نشون بدم. حالا شاید تو این فاصله اگر دوستان نکته‌ای داشتن در کلاب هاوس، اگر کسی اومد میشنویم یه تیکه آهنگ کوتاه از امید توتیان بشنویم از آهنگ خروش.
که دل دریا بود، مردی از دنیا بود، قصه فردا گفت، تشنه فردا بود، در شبی تنها گفت، صاف و بی پروا گفت، با دلی پر امید به تمام ما گفت. تو اگر برخیزی من اگر برخیزم، همه برمیخیزم، همه برمیخیزم. تو اگر برخیزی من اگر برخیزم، همه برمیخیزن، همه برمیخیزن. آنکه دل دریا بود مردی از دنیا بود، هم شب و هم زنجیر هم صدای ما بود. کاشکی اینجا بود در کنار ما بود، شاهد بیداری کارزار ما بود. ما که خود سوخت جان باخته ایم، شعله بر جان شب انداخته ایم. از ته دره خون با تن خیش تا به معراج پلی ساخته ایم. رقص بردار به شوق دیدار، این بهاییست که پرداخته ایم. وحشت از مرگ در این میدان نیست، ما که آن را به دعا خواسته ایم. ما که دیریست به پا خواسته ایم، کت خدا نه که خدا خواسته ایم. رو به روی لشکر جهل و جنون صفی از ترانه آراسته ایم.
بله، بسیار سپاسگزارم از شاه گرامی. همینجوری که دوستانم گفتن، شاه و کاووش عزیز از نسل آزاد اندیشان، دوستان دیگر سوان که بودند، خب خیلی پرتلاش هستند. فری تینکرز جنریشن که خب من در خدمت کاووش هم بودم تقریبا یک سال، شاید بیشتر از یک سال پیش، که همه تلاش میکنند برای free thinkers. Imagine to start your day with such a great discussion and a lovely song like this. Today is a good day. امیدوارم که روز خوبی داشته باشین. خوشحالم که روزتون رو با آهنگ زیبا شروع کردید و امیدوارم همیشه روزتون رو با آگاهی و آزادی شروع کنید و با آگاهی و آزادی به پایان ببرید. شاه عزیز، میدونم که گفتین دیگه خیلی هم شاید نتونید صحبت کنید، اگر نکته پایانی یا بدرودی هست بفرمایید. خیلی سپاسگزارم از شما.
خیر، سپاس از همه دوستان شما و بقیه عزیزان. I really appreciate everyone listening and hope to talk to you again soon.
بله، خیلی سپاسگزارم. منم برنامه رو پایان میدم. از همه عزیزانی که در کنار ما بودن سپاسگزارم. البته من هستم چند ثانیه بعد از اینکه برنامه رو پایان دادم اگر نکته‌ای داشتین. شاه عزیز، دوستتون دارم. Thank you very much.
آزاد جان، عذر میخوام، فکر میکنم یکی از دوستان در کلاب هاوس هست، اگه میخواین بشنویم حرف دوست عزیزمون رو و بعد روم رو خاتمه بدیم.
چه خوب که منتظر شدیم تا این دوستمون تشریف آوردن. بله، بذارید من کلاب هاوس رو هم بیارم روی تصویر و در خدمت دوستمون منیوی عزیز باشیم. بفرمایید، خوش آمدید دوست عزیز.
عرض ادب دارم خدمت آقای آزاد فارسانی و جناب شاه. من می‌خواستم بگم مناظرتون رو با جناب خزری دیدم، استفاده کردم، زحمت کشیدید. بعد راجع به این تو همون کانال این امیر حسام هم دیدم همون شب. بعد میخواستم ببینم اگه شما یه موقع چیزایی سوال کنید از اون، اسمشون هم یادم رفته، مجری که شما رو بود قدیمی هم از اونجا کار میکنن،
یاسر فلاح.
خیلی بله آقای یاسر خیلی سطح شعور و فهم سیاسی و به سلام از علاوه مذهبی کار ندارم. یعنی
من عزیز،
امیر حسام خیلی
من عزیز اگر حالا اون مناظره رو هست
راجع به امیر حسام دارم، راجع به امیر حسام
نه، در مورد موضوع برنامه اسلاموفوبیا، اسلام هراسی، اسلاموتروما اگه نکته‌ای هست در خدمتتونم. پوزش میخوام. سپاسگزارم.
خواهش میکنم قربان جان. نه اومدم ازتون تشکر کنم، از این استفاده کردم، از صحبتایی که در رابطه با اسلاموفوبیا داشتید استفاده کردم و لذت بردم و در خدمتتون هستم. ان شاءالله در به اصطلاح جلسات بعدی حتما مزاحمتون خواهم شد.
پس بذار من یه سوال از شما بپرسم. حالا که اومدین و مهر داشتین حداقل دیدگاهتون رو بشنویم. به نظر شما اسلام هراسناکه؟ اسلام درد جامعه ماست؟ اسلام باعث رنج جامعه ماست یا نه اسلام اساسا بعضیا باور دارن که اصلا ایران به اسلام، همون اون دفعه هم صحبت شد، مثلا همین امثال خزعلی و اینا باور دارن که اسلام خیلی خدماتی داشته به ایران. به نظر شما اساساً نسبت به جوامع انسانی، حالا در مورد ایران، افغانستان هم فقط صحبت نمی‌کنیم، اسلام آیا خدماتی به جامعه انسانی داشته؟ آیا سودی داشته؟ حالا به طور کلی ادیان و به طور ویژه اسلام، آیا هراسناک، مهرناک، ترسناک، نه گوگولی مگولی؟ نظر شما چیه در مورد خود اسلام که آیا یه درد و رنجی به جامعه تحمیل میکنه یا نه اسلام خیلی ناز و گوگولی مگولی و مامانیه؟
جناب آزاد، من فکر میکنم اسلام تو شرایط موجود، نه الان، حتی در به اصطلاح سده‌های قبل، هیچ دردی از مردم که دوا نکرده. هیچ، تنها فرصت‌هایی که میتونسته در سده‌های پیش مردم یه نفسی بکشن، یه به اصطلاح تغییر تحولی براشون به اصطلاح به وجود بیاد، همه یه روزنه‌ها رو بسته، راه نفس رو بسته. شما نگاه کنید، یعنی 44 سال مردم ما از کجا به کجا رسیدن. اگر مثلا مردم برای یه آزادی‌های سیاسی مثلا که نه فهمشو داشتن اون زمان، نه شعورشو، معذرت میخوام از اونایی که میفهمیدن، نداشتن یا کم داشتن، ببین به جایی رسیدیم که حتی الان ما داریم برای نفس کشیدن هم دنبال روزنه میگردیم. اسلام دیگه، شما جایی رو سراغ دارید که اسلام رفته باشه مردم بتونن اونجا نفس بکشن؟ شما من یه فیلمی رو امروز دیدم که به اصطلاح از این آقایون اومدن میکروفون دستشون گرفتن، 7-8 تا این خانم‌های محجب هم دورشون بود که میگم اصلا ملیت برامون مفهومی نداره، ما اگه از ایران هم دفاع میکنیم به خاطر اسلامه، همه چیز برای اسلامه. یعنی واقعا وقتی اینا رو میشنوید مو بر اندامت راست میشه. یعنی اینها هیچی براشون ملاک نیست، نه خاک، نه به اصطلاح جان مردم، هیچ چیزی. یعنی شما از سفره‌های مردم اینا تو خونه‌هاشون جمع کردن، اصلا جای بحث نداره. از هراس این مسائل گذاشته. یعنی شما تن لرزه برای یکایی که مردم و برای همه مردم اینا یه جوریه که شما هیچ که امنیت تو خونه‌هاشون نداره. SMS برای گوشی‌ها داره میاد که شما همکاری کنید با قوه قضاییه. شما دنبال چی هستین؟ فکر می‌کنیم مثلا ما می‌خوایم از اینا چی به اصطلاح برون بزنه؟ شما وقتی SMS برای شما میاد که به اصطلاح بیاین با ما همکاری کنین، اصلا دارن همه رو بر علیه هم میشورونن، دارن به اصطلاح میکروفون هاشون و هدفون هاشون رو تو خونه های مردم دارن میفرستن از طریق همدیگه. اینقدر ما ذلیل شدیم، اصلا جای بحث نداره. جایی هست اسلام رفته باشه؟ اینقدر بیچاره شدیم که تو زیمبابوه میرن سرود فرمانده میخونن، سلام بر سلام فرمانده میخونن برای رئیسی و مثل قشر زفت میره. اصلا گوگولی کجاش گوگولی؟ اصلا یعنی اصلا این سوال خیلی عذر میخوام خیلی مضحکه. چیزی برای ما نمونده از اون سفره‌های خالی، از امنیت نداشتم، از مثلا شما تو خیابون نمیتونید راحت راه بری اونجوری که دلت میخواد، اونجوری که یعنی نمیتونید به هزینه مثلا زندگی تو به اصطلاح تامین کنی. شما بیاین ببینید چه خبره اینجا. مردم به اصطلاح اون چیزهایی که به اصطلاح باید ببینن و نمیبینن، اون میکروفون ها، اون دوربین ها، اون چشم هایی که باید لایه های مردم رو تو فرودست جامعه ببینه به اصطلاح دیده بشن نیست که متوجه بشیم چه بر ما داره میگذره. ممنون جناب آزاد، ببخشید.
بله، خیلی سپاسگزارم از شما. من یوی عزیز اگه اشتباه گفتم ببخشین. و میبینم هنرمند شریف که اتفاقا ما این طرحایی که من پخش کردم آخر برنامه، آخرین طرحی که دیدیم از محمیر عزیز بود که در مورد زن، زندگی، آزادی بود. هنرمند شریف ایران که الانم بگم محمیر جان توی واتساپ هم یه پیام براتون گذاشتم. اما همین طرح رو ببینیم و هم نظر محمیر گرامی رو کوتاه، البته چون پایان برنامه هست، بشنویم در مورد اینکه اسلاموفوبیا اور اسلاموتروما. بعد کیوان قفاری گرامی هم اومدن به عنوان آخرین نفر، نظرشون رو خواهیم شنید. محمیر گرامی خوش آمدید. نظر شما چیه؟ اسلاموفوبیا اور اسلاموتروما، اسلام هراسی یا درد و رنج ناشی از اسلام؟ جانتون سلامت محمیر جان، خوش آمدید، در خدمتتون هستم.
سپاس، خسته نباشی. درود به خودت و همه باشندگان و هممیهنانی که تو را میشنوند و ما رو در کنار تو میشنوند. اسلام یک بدبختی است. اسلام درد بزرگ ماست. از پیش از اسلام مردمان به گونه‌ای زندگی می‌کردن با دانشی کم، ولی آنچه که ما از پیش از اسلام خودمون میشناسیم، آن کمی که مانده، چون اینها سوزاندند و ویران کردند. خیلی چیزا هم بلایای طبیعی هست که میسوزانه. این همه سیل، زلزله و میاد و این کارا رو انجام میده، اما اینها هم خود این مسلمونا برای ما چیزی نذاشتن. کما اینکه میبینیم که خلخالی میاد و میره که اون آرامگاه رضاشاه رو و تخت جمشید و هر جا میخواستن همه رو، و وقتی دیدن اونطوری به طور مستقیم نمیتونن ویران کنن، با کلک و تروت‌های دیگه، با سدها و هزاران چیز دیگه و دل کوه رو بشکافن، برای خودشون خونه بسازن، جنگل ها رو، درخت ها رو ببرن و به همه گونه خود طبیعت رو هم و این همه چاهی که کندن. و الان این ترک 76 کیلومتری که از کاشان تا قم شده، این آغاز این گسست‌های زمینی هست. اینا رو من از اسلام میبینم. اگر اینها نمی بودن همچی چیزی پیش نمی آمد. کما اینکه در همه جهان اکنون خشکی، نازک شدن اون قشر اوزون اینا هست، ولی ترفند دارن کار کردن. مثلا کالیفرنیا 25 سال عقب انداخته این خشکی که امروز یا سال دیگه میتونست گریبانگیرش بشه، ولی در مورد ما وارونه اینه. نه تنها کاری نمیکنن، خرابترش هم میکنن. دو چیز هست که بزرگترین بدبختیه. یک، طبیعتته، وقتی خشکی تو کاریش نمیتونی بکنی، آب نباشه و یکی هم مغز هاست. مغزهایی که ساختمونا ویران میشه از نو میتونی بسازی، ولی طبیعت تو نمیشه به این آسونی و باید مغزهای خردمند با مهر باشه، طبیعت دوست باشه که بسازه. اینها هم مغزها رو به مارهاشون دادند، یا کشتن یا زندانی یا فراری، و هم طبیعت رو کشتن. برای همین من به اینها میگم نگید بچه کش و فلان، اینا زندگی کشن، نه تنها بچه. چیزی هست که اینا نکشته باشن، چیزی هست که اینها آباد کرده باشن، ساخته باشن، رنگ خوشی، شادی یا اینا همه از اسلام میاد. در برابر دین هایی که خودت میدونی زیادم بیگانه نیستم، شناختایی از بچگی دارم با دینهای گوناگون، باشون هم زندگی کردم، ولی من پلیدتر از اسلام نمیشناسم. همیشه هم گفتم این رو. وقتی تو حاضری به خودت نارنجک و فلان ببندی و بری بکشی مردمو، دیگه این دیگه اوج بیدلی و خشونت و کشتارگری است. یعنی تو اصلا برای زندگی کوچکترین ارزشی قائل نیستی. و تا پیش از اون ما زنهایی داشتیم که شاه بودن، خزانه دار بودن، زنهای نامدار داریم. آرتمیس دریا سالار، میگن نخستین دریا سالار جهانی فلان. به هر حال زنها، خود واژه بانوگ به اوستایی هم ریشه، یعنی روشنایی خانه. اینقدر ستایش، اینقدر زیبایی نگاه به زن. و امروز چی است؟ باز دو مرتبه اینها وقتی که به نازنین جوان بانوان هنرمندمون در دانشکده هنرهای زیبا میگن رقاصه فلان و بهمان، باز دو مرتبه را انداختن این گشت ارشاد و فلانشون. اینا از بدبختیشونه، از ناتوانیشونه، از پسماندگی و لجن بودنشونه. و برای همین من این رو میگم اینجا خیلی جا داره. یعنی 100% این که ما بیایم بنالیم یا بگیم تو آقای نازنین ایجادی و بسیاری دیگر، سلیمانی امیری، اینها دیگه بهتر از شما دیگه مگه میشده؟ اسلام رو گفتید و میدونیم. بیشتر مردم با پوست و گوشت و خونشون این رو تماما جیلیز ویلیز شدن و تجربه کردن. بیشتر از هزاران کتاب که اینها چه پلیدانی هست. بنابراین چه کار باید بکنیم تا گذر کنیم؟ این مهمه. چرا شعار زن زندگی آزادی در جهان هم در میان سیاستمداران، هم هنرمندان، هم فیلسوفان به عنوان پیشتاز و نوین‌ترین شعار یک جنبش انقلابی مطرح شده؟ چرا؟ در جنبش هایی که در جهان بوده همیشه کار مسکن آزادی اومده. کار مسکن میشه زندگی، آزادی هم، ولی چیزی که توش نبوده زنه. پس این زندگی آزادی ارزشش به زن بودنشه و برای همین هم ما باید تمام نیرومون رو زوم بکنیم روی زن. یعنی زن رو باید چنان فریادش رو در جهان رسا بکنیم که زنان جهان به دولتیاشون فشار بیارن، برای اینکه زن پرمهرتر از مرده، زن واقع گراتره و زن آرامش میخواد.
بله.
زن آرامش میخواد و زن باید با زن سخن بگه. زنان ما در این جنبش انقلابی هنوز خیلی کم کار کردن. زنان درون ایران پیشتاز بودن، شیرزنی کردن، ولی زنان بیرون که باید صدای اون زنان درون باشن و اونا میتونن با زنای اروپایی و آمریکایی سخن بگن، چون در زن مهر، زن توجه بیشتر داره. اگر زن بفهمه، خیال میکنیم که میدونن مردم جهان که چه بر ما میگذره. نه، هنوز خیلی کمه و این است که من میگم که باید همه چی روی زن گذاشته بشه و پاشنه، نه بگم چشم اسفندیار اسلام و این آخوندهای پلید زنه. اینا تمام برنامه‌ش همیشه میبینی گرششتر برای چی را افتاده؟ مردا رو بزنه؟ نه، زنا رو. پس زن باید گنده بشه، بره خار چشم اینا هست و بره چشم رو کور کنه، سر مارهاشونم بزنه. سپاسگزارم.
خیلی سپاسگزارم از محمیر نازنین، هنرمند شریف ایران. بله، اسلام زنکش، زندگی کش و آزادی کش است. 2 تا طرحی هم که در یوتیوب پشت سر من میبینید. ای آزادی، هرگز چنین چون امروز دست به دامانت نبوده ایم. طرحهایی است از محمیر گرامی که صحبتاشون رو شنیدیم. هنرمند شریف و آزادی خواه ایران و آخرین نفری که در خدمتشون خواهیم بود دوست عزیز ما کیوان غفاری گرامی. نظر شما رو هم کوتاه میشنویم و بعد برنامه رو در یوتیوب، در فیسبوک، در کلاب هاوس پایان خواهیم داد. در اینستاگرام متوقف شده. بفرمایید کیوان غفاری گرامی. خب کیوان غفاری گرامی.
بله. من میخواستم بگم که اینا آخه حتی مسلمونا پایبند به قوانین خودشون هم نیستن. اصلا این کتاب اصلا متناقضه، یعنی هم از نظر اخلاقی متناقضه، هم از نظر فلسفی. یعنی مثلا خب اینا مثلا یهوه خدای ابراهیم، موسی و عیسی مسیحه. خب اینا اصلا حق ندارن. 10 فرمان موسی مگه برای چی اومده؟ اصلا این خداپرستی هم یعنی گفتن زکی، یعنی یه بتی بوده تو اون کعبه به نام الله با فرزندان لات و منات و عزا، بعد اومدن اینو چیز کردن، تبدیلش کردن به خدا. خب اصلا با فلسفه اصلا دین مسیحیت و یهودیت و زرتشت اصلا چیز مغایره. اصلا یه فاجعه است واقعا، ابتذال کامل دیگه. یعنی 10 فرمان موسی رو هم قبول ندارن که موسی مثلا اومده گفته که آقا خودشو معرفی کرده به عنوان یهوه، بعد اینا میگن که نه اسمش الله بوده. آخه اصلا یعنی حتی شناسنامه خدا رو هم اینا میخوان تغییر بدن. آره.
بله.
حرف دیگه ندارم، واقعا هم میمونه. این فاجعه‌ای که اسلام به بار آورده، واقعا یکی میگفت اصلا مالاریا و اینا بدتره، یعنی اصلا قابل مقایسه نیست. خیلی ممنون، مرسی.
خیلی سپاسگزارم از کیوان غفاری گرامی. بله، اسلام زنکش، زندگی کش، آزادی کش، حیوان کش، طبیعت کش، اخلاق کش، شرف کش، انسانیت کش. اسلام نابودگره. اسلام نابودگره. شاه گرامی نمیدونم میتونین صحبت پایانی یا بدرود پایانی دارین اگر هست بفرمایید و برنامه رو پایان میدیم. خب فکر کنم شاه گرامی هم محمیر جان اگر خیلی کوتاه نکته هست بفرمایید.
خیلی کوتاهه.
بفرمایید.
این واژه زندگانی رو بنویسید، بعد ببینید چند تا واژه از توش در میاد. زن، زند، زندگی، آزادی، آنی و زندان. همه اینا در این واژه زندگانی هست و اینها زندگانی کشن. تنها چیزی که توش میمونه زندانیه.
بله بسیار زیبا گفتین، متاسفانه بسیار زیبا
زند
و دردناک.
پازندم که بله
چی فرمودید؟
توشه باز. زند و پازند، زندم توی همین هست. زند بعد میاد زندگی، تو همین واژه زندگانی میگم. زند و پازند که شما که خوب میدونی یعنی.
بله درود به شرف شما. بفرمایید حالا زند و پازند رو هم بفرمایید معنیش که دوستانی که نمیدونن.
زند و پازند مانند اهریمن و اهورا. زند و پازند یعنی تشریح و کندکاش و نامهای گوناگونی هم برش میگذارن که به عنوان رهرو، پشتوان، این چیزا هم اومده. و در برابرش زند بخش نیکی یک گستره هست و پازند مثل پادزهر در برابرش قرار میگیره. ولی زیاد درباره این تفسیرهای گوناگون رفته. در اوستا و مزدی اسنا هست که الان دیگه شما آخر زمانتونه و هر کسی دیگه روز گوگلی مگولی داره میتونه بره. چون که من گفتم یعنی زند هم باز در این که خیلی با ارزش هست این داستان زند هم، چون به بازم نیاکانی هست و همه اینا توی واژه زندگانی هست. یعنی هم زن، زندگی، آزادی، هر سش توی واژه زندگانی هست. بنابراین اگه ما زن، زندگی، آزادی داشته باشیم زندگانی داریم.
بله.
فقط آزادی باید زندانی ازش بزنیم، آزادی رو داشته باشیم.
بله خیلی سپاسگزارم از محمیر گرامی، محمود میرزایی نازنین، هنرمند شریف و همه فن حریف ایران. شاه گرامی نمیدونم تشریف دارید یا خیر صدای ما رو دارید؟ میتونید صحبت کنید. چون میدونم شاه گرامی هم گفتن احتمالاً پیام برام گذاشتن نتونن صحبت کنن. از همه عزیزانی که امروز در کنار ما بودند در کلاب هاوس، در یوتیوب، در فیسبوک، در اینستاگرام برنامه رو دیدند یا شنیدند یا از این به بعد میبینند یا میشنوند، خیلی سپاسگزارم. از شاه گرامی خیلی سپاسگزارم. از دوستانی که کامنت گذاشتن در کلاب هاوس و در یوتیوب و همراه ما بودن خیلی سپاسگزارم. دوستتون دارم، میبوسمتون. شاد باشید، روشن باشید و روشنگر. Thank you everybody for joining us today and have a great day, have a great night. روشن باشید و روشنگر. تا درودی دیگر، بدرود.